role that I have is I am the acting SWAT commander for the Round Rock Police Department SWAT team. Today, shortly before 12 o'clock noon, Round Rock Police Department received a call from family members of an adult male who resided in the 2300 block of Vernell Way that this male was suicidal. As a result, patrol and the SWAT team responded. On the initial approach to the house and the response by the patrol officers, they located what they believed to be potential explosive devices. It appeared that the suicidal individual had possibly rigged his house with explosive devices. As a result, a several-hour investigation started and resulted with what I would like to remind everyone with the most positive outcome we could have, and that is the male, while going through a crisis, is in critical condition, but he has been transported to an area hospital. That is the hallmark of a community that supports its police department, equips its SWAT team very well, and allows for the SWAT team to be highly trained. A SWAT robot was used to enter the residence. During the entry and look around, we located the male, unresponsive, but yet breathing. There was no trauma seen. Once we determined it was safe for officers to enter and no serious devices would jeopardize the officer's entry, the male was promptly removed from the house, given to Williamson County EMS, and transported to an area hospital. There was located what we believe right now to be a potential explosive device. And because of that, and the traffic that you see behind me, the roadways will continue to be closed and the residences will continue to remain evacuated. I would direct everybody to go to Round Rock Police Department's social media page for any updates. As soon as we open the roadway, we're going to make sure that our folks can return home or go where they need to go. I think it's important to mention the assistance we received from the Alan R. Baca Center, because we did have to evacuate several residences because of the potential explosive devices. They received these individuals with welcoming arms. I'd like to thank the other agencies that assisted Round Rock Police Department today. I'll start with Round Rock Fire Department, Williamson County EMS, the FBI, the ATF, Austin Police Department Bomb Squad, Central Texas Regional SWAT, Leander Police Department, and the Williamson County Sheriff's Office. Does anybody have any questions that I can answer?
Can you go into further detail? You said he's in critical condition. Can you talk to us about that a little bit more? Why? How?
Sure. There was no trauma seen. However, he was unresponsive. And so he was taken to the area hospital, so continued life-saving measures can be given. I think it's important to say again that the best possible outcome today was he was found still alive and transported. And for Round Rock Police Department and the community, our hearts go out to the family of this man who was experiencing emotional trauma today. And as a reminder, the National Suicide Hotline is always available. If you dial 988, there is help and assistance available for anybody who is going through emotional distress.
Anything you can say quickly about the explosive that were found?
Yes. So APD Bomb Squad and the ATF were very helpful. Once we rendered the scene somewhat safe, we sent the experts in to locate and remove the explosive devices. They appear currently to be real. However, the investigation is ongoing and will continue.
School starts, I believe, tomorrow or this week for this area. Like, how grateful are you guys that this actually happened today and not, tomorrow? And if so, like, how different would this have changed your response?
Our response would have been the same, but you make a good point. We're very fortunate. Luck was on our side. We also make our own luck with our training and the way that we respond to these incidences. And our officers responded the way they're trained, taking into account, first and foremost, the safety of all the surrounding community around this specific home. And yes, shutting down a major roadway would have issue with schools, parents wanting to come and pick up their children, or bus routes. It would have been, it's still very serious. I'm not saying it wouldn't have been more serious. There would have been more obstacles and challenges we would have had to have faced, but I'm confident with the assistance from area departments and other departments within the city of Round Rock, like transportation and general services, we would have been able to handle that if we were having to deal with it.
What time did the SWAT robot go in? And then also, were there any mental health professionals involved or anything with the suicide call?
So we all receive crisis intervention training. All officers are trained in mental health. We also have crisis negotiators, and they are always on scene when SWAT is deployed to an area so that we can establish communication. That was attempted, but because he was unresponsive, there was no communication. We even attempted to communicate through the robot.
And then, sorry, what time did the robot go in on?
Oh, sorry.
No, you're good.
I would estimate, without having a timeline in front of me, within 45 minutes of the initial response of us, and we determined that that was the key element in order to make entry safely into that home.
Were there any previous calls to this home, or did you guys have any background knowledge of this suspect before you entered today?
Regarding that, I just want to highlight that it was important that he got the help that he needed, and hopefully will get the help that he needed for his crisis. As far as calls for service in the past, I do not have that information.
In terms of hours, how long did it take y'all to resolve this situation?
It's still ongoing. So what is it, 6:30 now? The key point is we divide this up and conquer different elements at a time. 1, the safety of the community. 2, the safety of him and the officers. 3, the removal of the gentleman from the house and gets transported to the hospital. 3, making sure that the scene is now safe so that the community can return to their home. And we're not quite there yet, but I think we're really close.
Anything else you can say about the subject, about approximate age or race?
It was a black male in his mid to late 30s.
Any other information you can tell us about the detonator or bomb that you guys found?
That's going to be a continued investigation. It was what would appear to be, to anybody, an explosive device. I'll take one more question and then we'll wrap this up.
Just to reiterate, when you say there was no apparent trauma, you're talking about like no apparent gunshot wounds, no apparent stab wound, things like something like that.
That is, the question was, when I say there was no apparent trauma, what that means is it wasn't obvious trauma from a gunshot or a stab or from something that he was struck with.
Physically, bodily harm.
Correct.
Physical bodily harm.
Physically bodily harm was not apparent. Okay, thank you everybody.
Thank you.